We are officially live from Doola HQ in New York City. And we're going to give folks a minute or two to jump in. And then, as you can see for today, the first topic we're going to jump into is the question I've been getting. Actually, the most common question I've been getting. It hasn't been anything related to work. I guess this is related to work. But this is the main question I've been getting. Are you actually living in your office? So we're going to start right there. And I'm going to give folks a minute to jump in. We truly do have a global audience. Last time we did this, we had folks tuning in all the way from San Francisco, West Coast, to confirmation that folks were tuning in from the Philippines/India, Asia. So really a full global time zone, which honestly isn't a surprise because we've seen this loud and clear across now 15,000 companies at Doola. Founders are all over the world. Founders also don't sleep. I mean, they do sleep, but there's always someone looking to start a business. So I'm not surprised to see that people have tuned in from every single time zone or almost every single time zone. So let's give folks about 30 more seconds and then we're going to jump in. Again, this is a completely live session, meaning I'll take questions that come up. We also have a ton of questions that came in. We weren't even able to hit them all last week. And I've got questions here I can pull up, but if anyone has questions, you can drop them into the chat wherever you are in terms of platform or country, drop them in. I don't know if I'll be able to read another language, but you can drop questions in. This is live. I'll answer anything that comes up here and we'll pop it on the screen. So as a reminder for folks, the main question I'm going to start with, because this is the main question I've been getting from everyone, is are you actually living in your office? So we're going to start right there. I'll give it 30 more seconds. And then the way I'm going to answer this question is I'll obviously answer it. I'll tell you the actual answer. And then I'm going to start with the why, then the how, then the what. There's this really cool concept starting with why. And I think that's important. It applies even for this challenge. So 15 more seconds. Okay, never mind. We're going to dive right in. So the question is, are you actually living in your office? The answer is yes. Now, I'm going to actually explain how this came about and give a little update on how things are going. But let's actually rewind. By rewind, let me share my screen quickly. I'm going to quickly show you what this looked like starting on day one. So we're in the midst of the challenge now. But if I were to take you back in time, I had this idea. The idea actually, if I remember, it came up a few years ago. And a few years ago, the thought was, what if we did something which was kind of crazy? But the idea being, hey, could I get so fully immersed and focused on LLCs and tie that to not only helping people start, but tying it to a cool challenge where someone would actually want to follow along and honestly feel like they're on the journey, feel like they're actually in the office here with me, literally and figuratively. And the idea was, wait a second, there's a lot of these challenges that go on. People like challenges. And the reason why challenges are powerful, you might be evaluating a challenge for your business, or if you just think about challenges in general, why do they work? You know the stakes immediately. In any challenge, you know exactly what's on the line and what the person's going for. So I think that's a really cool thing about any challenge as a format. This is one example of a challenge. But if you think of any challenge that's out there, could be a sports team going for a Super Bowl or an NBA championship, or in this case, 1,000 LLCs, you know exactly what the goal is and you know what the stakes are. So in this case, the goal is 1,000 LLCs. Why 1,000? Because 100 would be too easy. And let's just say 10,000, at least right now. I thought in terms of thousands, round numbers, 10,000 might mean I'm in the office for too long. So I started with something that is a bit of a stretch, but I thought was manageable. Now, with 1,000 LLCs, the goal was, what if I lived in the office until we hit 1,000? Now, the goal here being, and I got this question, how does living in the office tie to LLCs? Well, we call the office the LLC factory. What that means is this is where the work happens. And when I say the work happens, this is everything from the vision, 10-year vision, down to the weekly traction and execution of, are we moving marketing specs forward, product specs forward, operations, customer success, everything, right? So the LLC factory, you can have the vision of, hey, we want to help people start LLCs, but this is the factory right here. So I might as well reveal, I spend a lot of time in the factory anyway. So my thought was, wait a second, what if we up the stakes? And I live here until we form 1,000 LLCs. So the goal being, let me set the ground rules here, and then I'm actually going to show you how we set this up here. I'm living in my office until we form 1,000 LLCs. Day one is I move in. So I live in New York City. I live in the West Village area. One is I would move my stuff in here, and here were the ground rules, so everyone's clear and aware. The ground rules were I was not allowed to sleep outside of the office. So I actually have to sleep here. You can watch some of the videos. We're documenting every day along the challenge. And the rule is I have to sleep in the office. Now, the second rule is I'm allowed to leave the office. So I'm not actually trapped or stuck in the office 24/7. That might be a next level challenge that we do, but the ground rule was I have to sleep here. That means I can go out for lunch. That means I can go to the gym. That means I can go to a dinner. I can do those things. But when night comes, weekdays and weekends, I'm back on my futon, sleeping here. So those are the ground rules. Now, in terms of why actually do this challenge, a couple reasons. One, I actually just thought it was a good idea. And what I mean good idea, I mean right away, it sets the stakes. People get to come along the journey. They can actually see not just what a day in the life is, but what actually the build is like. Because I knew this was going to take more than 1 week. Budgeting for 1 to 2 months, that's what I'm budgeting for. Obviously, I hope we get more LLCs faster because we're putting out the content. And that's the third thing, which is by putting out content and sharing the story, you're actually putting out or dangling bait for people to actually learn what you're doing. And we have now seen, and this is what's really cool because you don't know if it's going to happen when you start, but you have the idea or hypothesis. We have seen people who've said, hey, I've been following, I saw the challenge you're doing, thought now is a good time to start. Keep it up, you're going hard. So I kid you not. People have asked, how does living in the office, how does the challenge help? Not only does it provide this top of funnel type of magnet, but it actually can help with three things. Customers, and I think content does this, customers, colleagues, and capital. Customers from the sense of there are actually people out there who are on the fence of starting. This can get them over the edge. Colleagues in the sense of I have done final round interviews over this challenge, and people have said, hey, I've been following the journey, following the challenge. I'm invested. I wake up, I want to check the count. I wake up and check the count too. Other people want to wake up and check the count. And the third is capital, investors. I have had our investors and other investors mention, hey, I saw the challenge as well. We're staying top of mind. You want to stay top of mind in this day and age. In this economy, attention is the new oil. You are literally fighting to capture attention. So this is a way you can actually stop someone's scroll and secure the sale, or stop the scroll and secure attention. So with that, the way this works is every single day, and I won't actually. I'll play one officially. I'll play one of the videos here just so you can see as we go. But every single day, what I would do is go through the full day. I'm documenting my day. This is boiled down to about a video short that's less than 2 minutes. And then each day, what we do is we add a new short to the thread. So there's a thread here. You can go on X. You can check this out. And each day here, you can see that we're actually updating the count here on a whiteboard. And the rule is I see how many LLCs were formed in total over the course of the day. We then update the whiteboard. And you can see each day we're saying how many were formed and how many are remaining. So to give people a little sneak, or not a sneak, it's public right here, you can go see. We're posting on all platforms, but you can come through and you can see if I scroll down, if I scroll down, if I scroll down. We just hit day 16 of the challenge here. 533 LLCs formed, 467 remaining. So if there's any statisticians, math majors out there, you can see we just passed 500 on day 16, which would mean at that same rate, we're looking, do the math, 32 days total. So I was actually budgeting 1 to 2 months. It looks like we're going to land within there, but we'll see. Obviously, the goal is as we put this out, the pace accelerates because more people see, and this becomes the new baseline for the company. So that was a bit of time in terms of the why behind the challenge. But again, the goal is, one, I thought it was just a funny, good idea. Two, there's clearly a play here to actually capturing attention. Three, there's actually a play to actually not just capturing attention, but customers, colleagues, and capital. And four, and this is the biggest one, I never wanted to think years from now, what if, or if only. And the truth is, doing something like this, you're not going to be able to do it any point in your life. For example, someone actually asked me, how do you do this? Do you have kids? No, I do not have kids. So I don't think it's impossible if you have kids, but it'd be way harder to do. So as an example there, I realized there's a time in my life now when I can actually do something like this. So why not do it? Actually, that was the thought of why not do it. And what was really cool, is that I know as I do this, as we document the journey, I'm not creating. I don't view myself as a creator or influencer. I'm literally just documenting what we do every single day. You can check out the content. It's just documenting what the journey is like as we build. And I know what's really cool about that is there will come a time, 1 year, 10 years, maybe 100 years from now. Side note, I think we're all going to live at least till then due to medical advances, when I will be able to look back and literally watch the journey. And that's going to be so cool. So even just selfishly for that reason, it's going to be so cool to have this memento. But there's so many other benefits we're seeing. And it's also candidly so far realizing, hey, there's another level or edge. Again, as you'll see from the content, there's a lot of work involved to getting a company off the ground, going from startup to scale up, from scaling, but it's really fun too. So it is fun. This has been an awesome ride. And I encourage folks, again, you can follow along. We're going to be posting every day on X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever channel you're tuning in on. So that is the challenge. Let me see if we have any comments coming in. We do have a couple questions, or actually comments that came in. So let me actually pull these up on the screen. Again, folks can chime right in. Hey, bro, DJ Brian, what's up? How you doing? If you're in New York, come swing by the office. You can come say hi. We had another comment from Eternal Reign of Light. Kindly reconsider. Okay, I'm curious if you are asking me to reconsider the challenge or if there's something else. Chime in there. Let me know. I can't reconsider the challenge. The ship has sailed. So once the ship has sailed, there's no turning back there. So unfortunately, I can't reconsider that. And we had another comment question here from Samesh. Hey, Arjun, I'm from a village in India. No big degrees, no funds, just real hustle. I'll work for free to help you scale. DMs, email, content, anything. Please give me one shot, one task to prove. I love the hustle. I respect the hustle. You've got to shoot your shot. That's one of my big philosophies is asymmetric upside. Taking the shot. Talk to the stranger, send the message, send the DM. So, Samesh, I'm down. I'll send a task. I appreciate the hustle here. You're out here literally asking. So send me an email. Anyone can actually send it. I'll give you my email. It's arjun@doola.com. And you can send me an idea of one task too. I can think of something too, but if you send me an idea, and that's a little hack, if you're trying to pitch yourself, put an option on the table. So Samesh, love and respect the hustle here. Shoot me an email, arjun@doola.com. I'll think of some task. Maybe it's content. Maybe it's actually taking this video and thinking about how we could chop it up and repurpose it, etc. But I appreciate the hustle. Shoot me an email again, arjun@doola.com. And if anyone else is curious, just on that topic, I'm going to pull this up here so folks can see. We are hiring. So if anyone wants to see our open roles, you can head to doola.com/careers. If you want to find that, you can go to Doola here. Then go to our resources, go to careers, and you can see all of our open roles. So you can see open roles. One other thing I'll say is when you're going through, you actually can pitch us on a role. Meaning, if you don't see a role that fits what you think you can bring to the table or you think we're missing, I welcome the critique. We seriously do. So pitch us on a role. Seriously, if you don't see the role, you can pitch us as well. So Samesh or anyone else listening, I just wanted to share that as well. You quite literally can pitch us here. Okay, next question. We got a question coming in from Jacob Morse on X. The question is, what is your favorite thing about living in the office? Okay, I'll be candid here. And some might say I'm just saying this as part of the challenge, but I'll be real with you. It is quite convenient. And here's what I mean by that. I wake up here and then I do have a pretty set routine, which I prefer to do. I don't have to do it, but I prefer to. Of when I wake up, I like to go get some exercise to start the day. It's the best form of caffeine and start my day. So the really nice thing about being right here is that once I wake up, there's actually a gym across the street. And then right after, I can walk right back. So that convenience has been so fantastic. The other thing I'll say, and I've heard this before, but I didn't realize it, I already, and I'm grateful to live pretty close to the office. It's a 17-minute walk or 7-minute city bike ride. Now it's about a 17-second walk. It's really close. So one of actually the largest predictors of job satisfaction is your commute. If you have a really long commute, it can be tough. I think if it's less than an hour, it's more manageable because you can read podcasts. But longer than that, it can be tricky, especially if it's multiple days per week. So my favorite thing is the convenience. That's the biggest thing, just definitely the convenience. The other thing, and I'll be candid here too, Jacob Morris, really great question, is look, New York's New York. I think it's one of the greatest cities in the world, maybe the greatest. I'll say that. You can comment if you disagree. But apartments are small because you're in a place where there's a lot of people with little space. So supply and demand, that means you don't get much bang for your buck in terms of space. So I will admit, and maybe I'll feature this in some future content, the office is much bigger than my apartment. So it actually has been kind of nice to have a little more space too. So that's my real answer there. That's my favorite thing, the convenience in terms of the commute to other things. And the office is an upgrade, or it's bigger in terms of my apartment at the time too. Great question. Okay, next up, we have a comment from Haley Bryant. This is so cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out Haley as well from Hustle Fund. Hustle Fund is one of fantastic early stage investors. I've giving them a shout out here. This is not a promoted plug or anything, but they're really incredible. So if you are an early stage founder looking to get your first check, they invest hilariously early based on hustle too. So head out. You can check them out. It's hustlefund.com. Actually, I'll even show you their website here, just so if anyone listening in here is actually, oh wait, hold on. Let me pull this up here. Okay, it's .vc. I got that slightly off here, but here you go. So shout out Haley, shout out Hustle Fund. We invest hilariously early in startups. If anyone is thinking about raising venture capital or interested, you should definitely check them out there. Okay, comment here. Reconsider the offer. This might be related to doula's pricing or package. So Eternal Reign of Light, let me know here. Again, I'm open book. I'm happy to discuss. On that note, though, let me actually just share what the offer is in case that was the question. So we are very candid about our pricing as well. One thing that we didn't like about other options, and this happens not just in our space but elsewhere, is you say one price, but then there's hidden fees, and it's kind of a bait and switch on that front. So something that we try to do is one price, one package, no hidden fees. That's the name of the game. We could, for example, say that this plan $0, and then you start going through the checkout and wait, but don't I need an EIN to get a bank account? Don't I need a registered agent? You do. Oh, by the time you get to the cart, it's $297. And maybe our click-through rates would be higher and our conversion rate would be higher if we put $0 here and then had those add-ons. We just decided we don't want to do that. Here's the price. You need all of this $297. It recurs because you have the registered agent to get your business bank account. So one package, one price. Only additional thing is state fees, and we say that. The only reason why state fees isn't specified here is because it's different per state. Otherwise, if it was fixed, we just put it right there. So that's our ethos there. Again, technically formation's included free with any of these packages. What you're really getting, again, on a renewing basis, people ask this, is the registered agent, the virtual address, and then compliance reminders from the team. Total compliance includes business taxes. So your business taxes with the IRS, your state taxes, that could be your Delaware franchise tax, your Wyoming annual report. Think of it as the tax backend with DIY bookkeeping. So this is if you're doing your own books, maybe you don't have many transactions, maybe you don't want to do or have human bookkeeping support yet. Business in a Box, our most popular plan by far. This is for the founder who knows their time is the most valuable asset. They want to understand their numbers and books, but they do not want to upload transactions into a bookkeeping software tool or do their taxes, but they need and want peace of mind it's going to be done correctly. Business in a Box, $329 per month or $3,000 per year. Again, one package, one price. The only thing extra here you pay is state fees, but that's the goal. So if anyone actually has feedback, again, Eternal Light of Rain, there might be some feedback here on the package, and I'm fully open to discussing anything that's confusing or unclear about it. But our goal is that it should be very simple to understand. Okay, I get what is in each of these. I understand what's in there. No hidden fees. Okay, Jacob Morris, whoever you are, Jacob Morris, let's go. Awesome, brother. I appreciate it. Fantastic question. And we have thanks for answering, of course. I'm happy to answer more questions that come in too. And Samesh, I appreciate it. Again, I'll just give you a shout out just for those who maybe are tuning in now. Samesh shot his shot. He came in and he asked, I'll put it up here again because I respect the hustle. Just real hustle. I'll work for free to help you scale. DMs, email, content, anything. Give me one shot, one task to prove. I told Samesh, and I'll tell everyone now, you can shoot me an email, arjun@doola.com. You can even pitch us on a roll. So if you have something you think you can bring to the table that isn't listed on our careers page, pitch us on a roll. We welcome it. Again, this is something we really stand for at Doola, is we only work with doers, people who are taking action. By definition, if you're starting a business or leveling up, you are a doer. Doola is for doers, and that goes both ways. That goes in terms of the companies and customers we serve, and That goes with the Dooleans, the people in our team. We want doers internally, people who have ideas but can take action and do both. So Samesh, I really respect the hustle. Again, you can pitch us on a role. You can just shoot an email, arjun@doola.com. Happy to help answer. Okay, and on that, in case anyone is listening here, actually coming back to just the main question that I started with here, yes, I am actually living in the office. I'll give y'all a little flash update now in terms of how we're doing one more time. In terms of where we stand, we are currently, let's pull this up here, 16 days into the challenge. We just passed the halfway mark, which, do the math, takes us to about a month, little over a month. If you are on the fence about starting your dream business, you should obviously do it for yourself, but you can also do it to help us get closer to 1,000. So again, I answered the question. There's some conveniences about living in the office, but if you are looking to actually help get to 1,000 and help me get free from the office, one thing I'll actually just share with everyone is you actually can schedule a free demo with our entire team. So it's completely free, no strings attached. I'm going to drop that code down below. Even if you just have questions about you want to run your business plan by us, technically you can do that too. I will say that typically people who are scheduling a demo, again, they have an idea of what they want to do, and now it's time to take action. But before you take action, of course, you have questions on what's the best state to form in? How do I get my bank account? What business taxes am I responsible for? What are my bookkeeping obligations? Maybe you're a non-US founder. We support non-US founders too. What are my international tax obligations? We are happy to actually walk through all of that in 10 to 15 minutes. So again, I say it as 15 minutes of peace of mind can give you 15 years of confidence. And oftentimes, the biggest mistakes you make are upfront. It's an ounce of pre-work is worth a pound of the post-work. So in this case, do your prep. We don't expect people to actually be 100% confident going in. And don't act like you have to be too. That's the thing. I'll just go on a little bit of a rant here. A lot of people think that they're not cut out to be a founder because they don't know these things. It's okay. No one knew these things before they started. And that's the thing is you actually don't need to know these things. You can find a partner like Doola who can do these for you. Again, formation docs and bookkeeping and tax, they're critical. They're required. There's two certainties in life, death and taxes. We're helping with the taxes. You don't have to be an expert in that. Most people don't even enjoy it unless you're a CPA. And that's okay. So that's a big reframe I had is I thought I actually had to know every single thing. No, you don't. You just have to know who else can do that and then outsource and delegate things which you naturally aren't the best at. And as a founder, you can focus on growing your business too. So we'll keep that up there if anyone is actually looking to help get to 1,000. Even though, again, the office challenge has been very fun, I will admit it, you can schedule a demo today too. Okay, let's come back into the questions. We had a couple more questions that came in, and I'm going to tackle a couple of these questions that I think address many, many people. So let's actually tackle, this is a fantastic question that came in. I want to tackle this and share this here. If I am from Pakistan, Canada, and India, can Doola get me a US business bank account? Let's talk business banking. So this is, again, this has the tag non-resident question, but this applies for US founders too. Very first thing, if you were listening to this and you do not have a business bank account and you have a business, stop what you're doing or keep watching. Actually, no, stop watching. You should actually stop watching if this is you. Stop watching. Go online. You can actually come to Doola. We have a marketplace with banking options and find a business bank account and open one. You need to separate personal and business. The best time to do that is when you're starting, even if you haven't generated revenue yet. And the reason for that is you need to keep the two separate so that when it comes tax season, it's very clear what are personal expenses versus business. And then can you actually take advantage of potential business write-offs? You're not going to be able to do that unless you have clean separation. So the best time to do it is at formation. If you haven't done it, I won't say shame on you because, again, sometimes people don't know these things. So it's okay. It's better late than never in this case. Please take a note. Go get a separate business bank account. Doola has a ton of recommended partners that we work with, or you can just do your own research. You can search business bank account, but if you want a tailored recommendation, you can check out our marketplace. I'll actually pull that up here too. So here you can actually see we have a curated list of tools and options which we've put together for founders end to end. So you can see here, you can check it out. Accounting, business banking, there's many options here. Insurance, there's really lots of options you can come and choose from. So if you are looking for support or help, you can come check it out online. Again, that's doola.com/marketplace or find your own. Okay, back to business banking. First myth, I'm going to be a myth buster now. You can indeed open a US business bank account from outside the US. So let's just clear the air there. Yes, you can. Question being, can I open a US business bank account as a non-US resident? Yes. Can I open a US business bank account as a US resident? Yes. Now here's the thing. If you're in the US, it's a little easier because you can walk to a physical branch. I could go to a Charles Schwab or a Bank of America or Capital One. I could just walk into the branch, especially in New York, there's tons of them. Internationally, though, unless you're flying to the US, you can't do that. So there actually are certain banks that can open accounts for non-US residents. Now, whether you're US or non-US, you're going to need a couple things to open a US business bank account. You're going to need your articles of incorporation, meaning you'll need an entity, an LLC or a C corporation. So you'll need that because you need your articles of incorporation. You will then need an EIN, which is your employee identification number, which you get from the IRS. And then with those documents, you can then apply for your business bank account. So a lot of people ask, and it's a good question, again, savvy entrepreneurs, why can't I just skip to the business bank account? You need the articles of incorporation or your certificate of formation, and you need your EIN before you can open the business bank account. So with that, if you're from Pakistan, Canada, or India, can you get a business bank account? First thing, Doola does not provide the business bank account. Also, I'll tell you, this isn't even a secret, but it's something which actually I learned. A lot of companies that offer banking services, they actually aren't the bank. There's an underlying bank that they're working with. So I'll actually give you an example here, and this is using one of our partners. We partner with a company called Mercury, and they're one of our partners. If you come down here, and you can, actually, let me share my screen. If you come down to the bottom, and you can start to check this out. If you come to the bottom of any bank's website, it'll say like this company is not a fintech company. Banking services provided by, and it'll say what the back-end bank is. So a lot of these fintech companies, which are again fantastic solutions, that's why we partner very closely, they actually aren't the bank themselves. They're working or they're a wrapper on top of a bank. So to answer the question now, from Pakistan, Canada, and India, the ultimate question is it depends on the bank's restricted list of countries. So in this case, and I'll actually show you this example in real time, if anyone is, especially as a non-US resident, curious of whether or not they can open with Mercury, we'll use that as an example, you can actually go to their website, and on their website, you can go to their prohibited countries list. And on this prohibited countries list, let me blow it up a little bit so it's a little easier to read. There we go. On the prohibited countries list, we can actually go and check and see. So the three companies that were mentioned, 3 countries, Pakistan, unfortunately, that is on the restricted country list. We cannot currently open. The other was India. I don't see India there. And then the other was Canada. So Canadian founders, Indian founders, you can apply to open an account with Mercury. Pakistan, founders from Pakistan, you can't. So this is what I would advise, whether it's Mercury or anywhere else. You can actually just go check the website and see what countries are accepted or not accepted in terms of where the founder is based. Now, one other thing too, if you are looking to get a bank account, we partner with Mercury, we partner with other banks, so you can actually apply directly through our link. That means if there's questions, we're happy to help support, and potential bonuses you can also get too by working with us. So whether you start with us or not, if you're looking for help with business banking, we've also put up content on how to open. We've put out actually great content. I think it's great. The edits are fantastic from our
to start
team.
Your own business?
And
Well,
we've actually put out
further
content
than
here on
busy-
how to open a Mercury business bank account too. So you can watch our step-by-step guides as well. We're trying to make it very easy for folks through every part of the process, whether it's formation, bookkeeping, or taxes, to actually learn how to do this. So great question there. Thank you. To summarize again, you can open a U.S. business bank account as a non-U.S. resident. You cannot, or you technically could fly to the US, but you can do it virtually. You need your articles of incorporation, your EIN, then you can apply. And it does ultimately depend on whether or not the bank has you on the restricted country list. So that's the ultimate question there. Fantastic question. Okay, we have another question that came up here. First, let's go to the live Q&A again. This is live. Folks can pop anything in. I'll answer anything. You can test me on that, but there we go. So this is from SecBytes. Hi, Arjun sir. Hey, what's up? How's it going, SecBytes? Do you have a question? Please drop it in. We have a question here from Samesh. Arjun sir, if someone wants to learn startup skills without college, where should they spend 6 hours daily for the next 6 months? Okay, what I already love about this question is that's what it takes to learn anything, right? There's this 10,000 hours concept Malcolm Gladwell has this great book on greats in any field. They've spent well more than 10,000 hours, but the key to getting good at anything is spending a ton of time on it. And the more you front load it, the better you'll get. Usually an expert has failed more times than you've tried, but they've also put in more hours than you have. That's why Steph Curry is so good at shooting threes. He's missed more threes than we've ever tried in our life, and he's a really, really good three-point shooter. So where would you spend 6 hours daily for the next 6 months to learn startup skills? My answer here would be you can read books, you can read essays, you can read guides, you can watch videos. But that's not my recommendation. My recommendation would be to learn startup skills, do something. Actually try to start something. And that might not be the answer someone wants to hear, but actually try. That means in your head, if I was going back and starting from scratch, I wish started Doola years before it actually started. But in my head, I had this notion of, oh, I need to go get experience first. I need to learn first before I can actually start. Don't get me wrong. Some of the things I did after college, actually starting work, have helped me, but it's no substitute for just jumping off the cliff into the deep end. I'll say it kind of feels like jumping off a cliff, hoping the parachute's going to go, but trusting, or not even hoping the parachute's going to go. Here's the analogy I'd give. This is going to feel like jumping off a cliff and assembling the parachute as you're dropping. But you need to have that conviction that you can assemble the parachute. So, Smash, what I would say is 6 hours daily for the next 6 months. I would say pick something. It could be an idea. I'm a little biased here because we work with many e-commerce businesses on Shopify and Amazon. And I really like Shopify and Amazon because with e-commerce, I think there's no formula or playbook, but you can pick a product and then you have these platforms. Amazon's a benefit, Amazon FBA, because there's distribution through Amazon. Shopify is a fantastic storefront where you can go live very quickly. And then you obviously need to create and test creative. But Sumesh, my recommendation would be pick a product or e-commerce idea and just start. You will learn so much, especially if you spend 6 hours a day for 6 months. You will learn more from doing that than you would from just watching videos or reading essays. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I've read a lot of Paul Graham's essays, for example. Y Combinator has fantastic resources. Doola went through Y Combinator too. So if you want a couple of resources, I would say Y Combinator on YouTube has fantastic resources. But I would say actually pick something, pick an idea and get started on it. You will learn so much more from doing that versus doing anything else. My biggest regret, if anything, is not starting earlier because I thought, again, I had this notion that you need the experience before starting. No, you get the experience from starting. So I hope that's helpful. Fantastic question, Smash. And 6 hours daily for 6 months. If you do that, I guarantee if we were to talk 6 months from now, if you came back on here, it'd be hard to bet against you or someone like this who actually put in that time for 6 hours a day for 6 months. Fantastic question. We have a question here from SecBytes. I developed a software that solves everyday problem. I can't reveal it now. Sorry for that. Okay, that's good marketing. You got me intrigued. I applied on YC, Techstars, etc. I received a rejection from YC. Oh, and then there's a second part of the question here. Any suggestions on what I should do now? Okay, I'm going to tell a little story here. Before getting into YC, I applied 3 times before. Yes, I believe it was 3 times. And there's actually a stat. I don't know the exact number. Maybe someone knows this, but most people who actually get into YC have applied multiple times before. Now, that's YC is one example. But the other thing I'll say is that the first idea that we actually got into YC with didn't work. So YC actually sometimes picks the wrong idea. So I'm using YC as an example here, but if only an investor or YC was the secret to making a business work, that'd be nice. Like it's like they anoint you or they give you the money and then magically things work. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I think of it as this 3-legged stool where you have the product, the team, and the market. And then technically capital is what you're pouring into that. But the best capital is actually capital from customers or revenue. So capital doesn't make this stool work. If the product's not there, the stool falls over. If the team's not there, the stool falls over. If the market isn't there or there's too much competition, the stool falls over too. So what I would say in this front is don't let that rejection stop you from working on what you think is an actual everyday problem, because the ultimate proof is paying customers. So you have a couple options here. Ultimately, keep building and show YC or show anyone, but show yourself mostly that, hey, there's an actual problem here. And again, the best conviction you can give anyone that what you're doing is working, whether it's an investor, whether it's your first hire that you're trying to bring on, is one, you hustling, you showing you care about it, but two, customers using your product are paying you. That's the ultimate sign. Proof is in the pudding. That's the only scoreboard that matters. And revenue is the medium of exchange that people in society use to give value. If this has value, you pay. If it continues to have value, you continue to pay. If not, you don't. It's actually a really cool, clean exchange of value, which the entire world is aligned on. So if someone's not paying you, or depending on the app, if they're not paying you with their time, let's say it's a free app and you're monetizing with ads, then you have to look in the mirror or face the writing on the wall that, hey, maybe what I'm building actually isn't solving a problem. But if you have that conviction, don't stop. So what I would say, and I'll actually just share what I think is the YC secret sauce, which anyone can apply. One of the beautiful things about YC is that in the batch, 10 to 12 weeks before demo day, which is when you're going to pitch investors, everyone picks one metric. You pick your most important metric. So for Doola, for example, our most important metric is annual recurring revenue. So how many people are paying for subscriptions? So if we were going through the batch again, it would be, okay, each week we're going to set a goal. And at that stage, because you're starting from a lower amount, the goal is usually at least 7% week over week growth. So you can do this exercise for your business. That's your only goal for the next week. And then all you do is you think, okay, what are things we can do? Let's prioritize them that will help us get to that goal. And then you have this group office hours, you go around, you say what you're going to do, and then you come back and you share how you did next week. And what that does is insane accountability, because every week you're sharing what you do, and then you're around other people doing it too, so it levels you up. And then here's the thing. If you are truly doing the things you think have the best shot to work to hit that goal, and you're doing it week over week after week, but your metric isn't moving, you have to face that reality. And I think that's the best part, is that a lot of companies in YC do pivot, because I think when they go through that process, they realize, crap, I can't delude myself. We've tried, we've put our best bets on the wall, but it's not working. Now, again, you have to, the question or caveat here would be, are you executing, doing the right bets? Are you prioritizing the right things? But if you are, that's what I really like about that approach. So I think anyone can use that. There was a question before about what should I do in 6 months for 6 hours a day? You could do a very similar thing. For your idea, I would say, what is your primary metric? Cool. Put that on the wall. What am I going to do this week to help move that metric up by at least 7%? Go do them. And then check in next week. And get a group of friends who are doing this too, and do that as a group. So I think anyone can kind of hack that. What you're getting with YC is, I think, the accountability, the capital, and you're around other people doing it too, so it levels you up as well. So I would say keep that up there. And in terms of what you should do, keep going. Again, I don't know the business. You know your customers, but if you're getting the feedback, if there's people paying you, see if you can get more. Then you can go back and apply to YC, or you don't even need to apply, right? Because you have paying customers, and maybe that fuels the business too. Okay, we got a comment from Joseph. Love this. Thank you, Joseph. Shout out Joseph as well. Joseph is awesome. I know Joseph. I appreciate the comment, Joseph. Appreciate the love there. And we have a comment here from Samesh. Thank you. Your advice, deep hit. Awesome. Samesh, again, respect the hustle. You have the right mindset for 6 hours daily for the next 6 months. If you do that in anything in life, your health, your business, you'll come out the other end unrecognizable. Just you'll have so much growth in that period, because this might be a harsh truth. So many people in life just live the same 6 month or 3 month cycle over and over and over again. So if you take this mindset of, even let it not, it doesn't even have to be 6 hours a day. It could be 30 minutes a day. And I've actually thought about this. I think maybe the only thing that most people have done for 6 months daily is brush their teeth and sleep and eat. Yeah, I actually think if you were to actually look at people's schedules, most people, those are probably the only things they actually do daily. But imagine if you just read a book each day for 30 minutes, or worked on your business for 30 minutes, or played guitar. It could be anything, work or non-work. You will come out the other end unrecognizable. So yeah, I love this attitude, Samesh, of 6 hours a day for 6 months. You have my email, arjun@doola.com. Let me know what you do here. Again, you could also share in public what you're doing as well. But I think that type of commitment is very hard. Not many people do it, so kudos to you there. Okay, we are going to wrap up. We had a couple more questions that come in. I'm going to pull one more up. If there's any other questions, you can let me know too. And let's pull up a question that came in around, okay, we got to talk about taxes. We had a lot of tax questions, and I'm going to pull this one. What are the U.S. tax implications for me slash my e-commerce business as a non-US resident? Fantastic question. I'm going to answer it. A lawyer tells you 11 things you shouldn't do. I will tell you the one thing you should do. Now, I have to give this disclaimer. I'm not a CPA. I joke in my next life I might be reincarnated as one because I've learned a lot about taxes, but I'm not a CPA. The doula team has CPAs. So if you have a question, I'm going to do a quick pause here. I'll actually keep this up as I answer this question. Anyone can actually schedule a demo with our team to go through your tax situation. You can talk to our team of advisors. We'll check with our tax team. Again, don't go into this without having 100% confidence. We're here to help. So again, if you have tax questions, quick plug here, you can actually schedule a free demo and we're happy to support there. So let me pop the question back up. You can also scan the QR code on the top side up here. What are the US tax implications for me slash my e-commerce business as a non-resident? Here's the first thing. As a US resident, if you take an LLC is a pass-through entity, meaning taxes flow through and then you pay taxes on your personal taxes. So for an LLC, there's this thing called a Schedule C for your business. Once that's completed, you then file that with your personal tax return. Now, there are different elections you can do on your LLC. There's this thing called the S-Corp tax election. Your LLC could also be taxed as a partnership if there's two people. Then you have this form called a 1065, and there's K-1s that then flow through to your individual return. You can also have your LLC taxed as a C-Corp. So one of the benefits of LLCs is the tax flexibility. Now, I'm going to answer the question for the non-resident side, but also the US resident side. Again, I'm not a CPA. You should schedule a demo. You can do that right up here and talk to our team about your specific situation. But I'll try to give the general answer here. As a US resident, if you have an e-commerce business, let's say you're a single member LLC, just you, technically your LLC is a pass-through entity. So everything that is the revenue you collect from the LLC passes through, and then you would file it on your personal tax return, meaning depending on what tax bracket you're in, what state you live in, etc., your federal tax bracket, that's the tax you would pay. Again, it depends now if you're taxed as an S corporation or a partnership or as a C corp for your tax rate. For example, with a C corp, there's a corporate tax rate. But to keep it simple, as a single member e-commerce LLC in the US, pass-through entity, you then pay taxes based on your personal income tax rate. As a non-US resident, again, non-US residents, please, you can talk to our team to get your specific situation set. The first thing to keep in mind is it depends on what country you live in, because different countries have different tax treaties with the IRS or the US. Depending on that tax treaty, that can dictate what taxes actually look like for you. Now, to use an example, if there's a country which has a certain tax treaty with the US, for an e-commerce business, now I'm going to put a couple clauses here. For an e-commerce business that has no physical presence in the US, so when I say physical, think warehouses, storefront, employees. You don't have a physical office, nothing physical. If it's purely online or digital, or you're using a third-party warehouse, maybe there's a 3PL you're using, third-party logistics or Amazon, you then do not have a physical presence, which means you don't have what's called effectively connected income with the US. And in that scenario, again, there's a lot of clauses here. Tax treaty has to check out, nothing physical. In that scenario, if you don't have effectively connected income, that means there's this form you have to fill out called Form 5472. So not necessarily a tax requirement, but it's an informational tax filing. You have to fill that out, submit that to the IRS. Note, Doola can actually do that filing for you. You can DIY too, but that requirement is there. You have to fill out Form 5472. Then you would pay taxes in your home country. Similarly, pass through, your LLC is viewed as a disregarded foreign entity, and you would file taxes in your home country. So that is the answer for a non-US resident. Again, the thing to keep in mind is it really depends on the country. For example, Canada is very different than India, which is different than the UK. So keep this in mind. You should really check based on your home country, and you can talk to our team again if you have any questions on this. But I will answer here that if you are a non-resident with no effectively connected income, you don't pay US income tax because there's no effectively connected income. There is an informational tax filing, and then you're paying taxes in your home country. So I hope that answered the question. Fantastic question that came in there. And with that, this was fantastic. I really appreciate the questions that came in. I'm also going to finish off with, if anyone wants to follow along the journey, again, one of the first questions that came up today is, are you actually living in your office? Yes. Across all social, we're sharing the journey. And again, this is a cool challenge. We think this can help us grow faster. But the main goal here is it actually just shows what it's like behind the scenes. Documenting the journey. You can feel like you're coming along the journey with us, whether or not you start an LLC with us. but you can feel like you're on the journey. I want to give you a sneak peek of what my life is like actually behind the scenes. So you can follow along across all social. I also do have a newsletter where I'll be sharing updates and recaps about everything going on. It's called 2 Minute Business Hack. So every week I share a business hack. I'm into hacks that you can actually apply and use for your business. I've used these myself. No fluff. It takes 2 minutes to read because I know that you get a ton of email. So literally you can read the hack and then go on with your day. But as part of that, I'm also sharing the challenge, other content we're creating. This is a really lightweight way to just stay on board with the journey, stay up to date with the journey, to follow along with the journey. So you can check out the newsletter right here, 2 Minute Business Hacks. Again, no fluff. If you don't like the newsletter, you can unsubscribe. I won't be offended, but I'd love your feedback. And you can follow along the journey that way. So once again, 2 Minute Business Hacks. You can follow this to follow along the journey. If you have any questions about Doola, you can scan this code here for a free demo with our team. No strings attached there. We're not going to say, hey, by the way, cost $100 for you to show up here, etc. No, it's literally a free demo. We offer this for free because we know it's a scary process, but the best time to start was 20 years ago. Second best time is yesterday. So you really, if you're on the fence, life's too short. You don't ever want to get to the end and say, I wish I did this. I think the 4 saddest words in the English language are what if and if only. You don't ever want those. So again, don't start without having a plan, but just start. And again, follow along the journey here, 2 Minute Business Hacks. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And again, we will collect questions. So I really like the questions that came in today. And without further ado, LLCU next week. You can start saying that when you sign up for your emails. LLCU soon. So you can try that out. I do that too in my emails. If you chat with me, you know that as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and LLCU next week.